You can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry.
I'm ready to step this up a notch.
You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Woo! Bring them out, bring them out, bring them out, bring them out. It's hard to yell when the barrel's in your mouth. Woo! Bring them out, bring them out.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Willy Donick, Derek Mason with you, little Jay-Z on a Friday. All right, I got a theory on Tom Brady. And it's not related to his personal issues, because, I mean, look, he's had personal issues, and I'm sure it's affected him. I'm not saying it's not. But, one, I think how this is going, what's happening now with Giselle is going to affect him is he's going to come back next year.
Yep.
I think he's going to play next year because he needs that distraction. Mm-hmm. Okay, you've convinced me. Originally I thought this was it. Now I'm thinking not.
Will he show up on Wednesdays next year if he plays?
Who knows? Because I don't think it's going to be with the Bucs.
No.
I think he's going to go somewhere else. Now, here's my thing though. Mm-hmm. What has been the constant in his career when he's been successful?
Gronkowski.
Yeah. No. Yeah, but
Bill Belichick.
But what kind of coach is Bill Belichick?
He's a no-nonsense coach.
Right.
Yeah.
What kind of coach is Bruce Arians?
A no-nonsense coach.
What kind of coach is Todd Bowles?
More of a player's coach.
Do what you want to do, Tom. It's your team now.
Yeah.
I don't think that works for him. And he will never admit it. Because, I've thrown out the theory that he could go play for Josh McDaniels in Vegas. That's his buddy. I think he needs that. He's never going to admit it, but I think he needs the a-hole.
He needs somebody
type
that's
head coach.
He needs somebody that's going to challenge him every day.
Right.
Somebody that's not looking at his greatness, but looking at, you know what, Tom? You can get better at that. He
needs somebody to piss him off.
Exactly. Just because you won 6 Super Bowls or 7 Super Bowls, this practice was garbage. You had a bad practice. You're not the best quarterback in the NFL no more. He needs that. That's what he needs.
And I think he got tired of it. And I get it. Like, you needed to change. But, Bruce was similar. Bruce was that guy. Bruce was going to challenge you. Bruce was like, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've done. You haven't done it here. Like, that was how he was. It's kind of like, look, I think you were that type. You needed somebody to piss you off.
Oh, yeah. I couldn't play for someone that, like, Jeff was that type of coach. Obviously, he got a little bit more lax once everybody left. But John was that type of coach. John and I were butt heads all the time. And I loved it, and I enjoy it. I enjoyed it because he challenged me. Players enjoy that. Players that really love the game and love the competitiveness. They enjoy a challenge. They just don't want to walk out and the head coach or coordinators are just patting them on the back. Oh, you're so great, and timid around them. No. You know what? You put on your cleats just like I put on my shoes to come out here.
Right.
We're all in this together. You're no better than everybody else. And you're right. I think Tom may need that.
Will you buy that theory?
Look, all I know is that I watched a little bit of the game. I was watching the Predators game. I was at the Predators game, but I had the game on. Mm-hmm. I saw some things I just don't see from Tom Brady. Early in the game, on the Bucs' early touchdown drive that Fournette finishes off, a play or two before, he's got Mike Evans wide open in the end zone. It's wide open. He never misses that throw. He threw the ball out of bounds. He led Mike Evans out of the back of the end zone.
Well, the deep
I just
pass,
don't see that. It was called
pass he threw to Mike Evans. It was underthrown, and they were able to break it up.
And they got a do-over because it was defensive holding, but it still should have been an easy touchdown.
Yeah.
Then the next drive, he missed him again. He had him open in the end zone. Big window. Mike Evans, big target, right? Missed him. They ended up having to kick a field goal. And he had plenty of time to throw. And I'm just thinking that's easy for Tom Brady. He's missing easy throws. He doesn't do that. So I just do think that whether it's, the away from the field, the coaching style, the fact that he shows up when he wants to show up, he's a little bit older, all of these things I think have to be adding up some. It's got to be affecting him. Mm-hmm. I think the older you get, it's like you need to work harder. Most people, mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking about Tom Brady here, but most people have to work harder to stay at the level the older you get. To be in the physical, you got to work harder to be in that shape. I don't know. It's not too late for the Bucs because the division is so winnable. Mm-hmm. They may not have to win more than 9 or 10 games to win that division. It's possible. So it's not too late. But now that this is off his chest and it's out in the open, we'll see how he reacts to that. I also wonder if he'll start doing things a little differently in preparation for these games.
Yeah,
because
wonder.
We've been talking about this. To me, it has to be a thing in that locker room because they're struggling. If they were rolling along, hey, they'd probably be joking about it. Tom, you coming in on Thursday, or are you going to take Thursday off too? You okay?
Right.
But if everything's rolling, it's not a big deal, right?
Exactly.
But now that they're in a hole, it's got to be a thing. Man, I wish Tom was here on Wednesday. But Tom doesn't have to show up on Wednesday. There's always those guys in the locker room that privately will at least have that thought if they're not talking about it in little circles in the locker room. It can fester. It's clear that they're not clicking.
No,
right?
They're
just
the same
not
page.
clicking.
And I think Arians helped that, though. That's the thing. I think Bruce Arians was that type of coach that he could walk in there and be like, guys, get your head out of your what? Like, let's get on the same page.
And many people, sort of when it first happened last year, the first part, and it was coming out, Arians and Brady were bumping heads. And people just all of a sudden took Brady's side. Maybe that's what Brady needed. He didn't need somebody that just was going to succumb to him and, oh, I'm sorry, Tom, do whatever you wanted. He needed someone to come back at him.
Yeah, he needs that challenge.
Exactly. And when that was happening, people were getting on Bruce Arians, and not thinking, well, maybe Tom needs that. Maybe that is what keeps him going. Maybe that's why he had so much success in New England, because he and Belichick, they were great together, but they bumped heads because Bill Belichick wanted the greatest out of Tom Brady, and Tom wanted it out of the head coach.
Right. And that is what created that magic that they had, that they weren't friends.
Exactly.
They didn't like each other. They respected one another, knew that they were there to do a job. But like you said, they pushed each other, and now I don't think he has that.
Bo's on pushing.
And I mean, here's the other thing, too. I mean, I think Giselle pushed him. I think there was she was a supportive wife, but I think that, she challenged him in ways. And so if he's not getting that, some people just need that. They need to be challenged. And I think that that's what is missing from him right now.
Well, something is, because this Buck team, it's sort of like the Titans. Luckily, they're in a division that isn't strong, and at 3-5, you still got an opportunity to win your division, even at 3-5. And that's the same way we look at the Tennessee Titans. Even though they dropped 2 at the beginning, and now they're what, 5-2. Are they 5-2 or 5-2?
Yeah, they've won 4 in a row.
Yeah, 5-2. We pretty much say this is their division to lose. Why? Because their division isn't strong by any means. Do they got a good team in their division? Absolutely. I think Jacksonville's a good team, but they don't know how to win close games because they're young. Indianapolis, you don't know what they are. It seems like they're slowly just giving up, and they want that number 1 quarterback. Houston, they may scare you every once in a while, but that team's not equipped from top to bottom to win a division. They're just not. So by default, because the Titans has the best coach in the division, that's what I think that, and I will say it until the roster changes. The only reason this team is 5-2 and first in the division is because of Mike Vrabel.
Right.
He gets those guys for whatever reason, somehow, some way. He gets them up and playing. He put together, with the coaching staff, they put together a game plan to win. That's the only way. That's the only reason they're in first place, because of the head coach. In my eyes, at least.
I think you're spot on with that. Chase, Willy, D-Mase. Coming up next, it is week 11 of the high school football season. Hard to believe, the regular season coming to a close. It has flown by. We'll talk to Big Joe Dubin, who, of course, is one half of the Game Blitz, which you can hear tonight at 6. We'll do that coming up next. But can you beat Vegas this football season? Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. There's no fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting the lines for American sports, just the best team of odds makers in the biz right there behind the counter at the Superbook in Vegas. Plus, they feature some of the best odds boosts, odds boosts, and promo bets anywhere. Download the Superbook Sports app today or visit superbook.com, and you can start your battle against Vegas right now. I think Michelle's gone. I like Tennessee laying the 12.5 in Knoxville against Kentucky. You can do that. Download the app. Go make your bet. Put whatever amount you're comfortable doing on it, and let it ride. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Black Friday deals are here earlier than ever at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, Sony, Cuisinart, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark again from Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Come join us before any Preds game or concert at Bridgestone Arena. Enjoy one of our prime steaks. Why Bob's, you may ask? Because at Bob's, we not only serve prime beef, but the top 2% of prime beef in the world. Try our certified Japanese A5 or Australian tomahawks. So come see us at Omni before you go to any game and make sure to ask for Chef Mark. Let's go Preds!
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel. Houston Clinic Orthopedics in White House offers world-class orthopedic care. This location on Sage Road specializes in general orthopedics, arthroscopic surgery, sports medicine, hip, knee, and shoulder. Get back to enjoying life sooner by scheduling your appointment at tn.houston.com. Houston Clinic Orthopedics in White House is conveniently located in the Crossroads Medical Group building. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Joe Rexrode here for OrderGreen.com. Listen, to do the job I do, got to stay on the move at all times. Lots of travel, early mornings. Sometimes it can catch up with you, and when it does, I always enjoy natural and enjoyable ways to de-stress my mind and body. That's why I use a high-quality, wide selection of THC and CBD products from OrderGreen.com. It's not just me. Lots of my friends are on the bandwagon here, including a sick family friend of ours who has gotten great benefits. OrderGreen.com. You subscribe, you save 25% off shipments of gummies, or use promo code JOE20 for 20% off your first purchase. OrderGreen.com.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Matthias Ekholm. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We're streaming on the Game Nashville app. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, you can join Big Joe Dubin and Elijah Campbell for the Game Blitz. Tune in, and it's the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz presented by National Playmakers Academy. 6 to midnight, they'll preview the big games and then take you through the night of high school football around the mid-state. It's the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz presented by National Playmakers Academy on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Let's bring in Big Joe Dubin, who's trying to tell me what to do while I talk, which is always fun. Hi, JoJo. How you doing?
Yeah, do it, Chase. Get it done. I'm doing well, man. It's hard to believe this is it. This is Week 11 of the high school football season. This is it tonight. You know, a lot of teams moving on, some teams not moving on at all. So it's a huge night, and there's just so many huge games that are taking place tonight. We talk about people like, how can you do that show for 6 hours? We could start this show, and I'm not kidding you, at noon today and go to midnight and have plenty to talk about. That's how big tonight's games are.
Yeah, and look, you have, and you've done this before. It's a cool story that you always make sure to point this out. That look, for a lot of these kids tonight, they're putting the helmet on and the pads on for the last time. They'll never do it again in their life, and they'll go on and be great in other things, but it's something that maybe we don't think about like we should, because this is a big night for a lot of these boys.
Well, it happened a few years ago. I had a kid come up to me, and I'm not going to tell you what school it was, but they didn't make the playoffs, and they didn't get the playoffs all 3 years he was there, and he's like, I'm not sure it was worth it. And I pulled him aside, and I said, look, man, everything you did in playing high school football was worth it. Your practices, the summer when your buddies are at the lake or the pool, you're out here busting your tail on the practice field, it meant something. You're with these guys. You cried with them. You laughed with them. Hell, you got on a bus, went across town, and beat a team that nobody think you could beat. And I'll tell you right now, the best thing, and I'm sure Derek knows this well, the best thing in high school is riding that bus back across town after you beat a team that nobody thought you could beat, and just the laughter and the joy and the workouts and the commitments, and I talk about, a good friend of mine, his dad died, during the season, and holding his hand and getting him through this. I mean, there are so much things that happen playing high school football that goes beyond the final score. So I wanted this kid to know that every second you put into it was absolutely worth it. At the end of the year, only one team takes the championship home, but you're a champion because you played. I mean, you went out there and you did the practices when it was cold, when it was hot, and nobody wanted to do it, and you did this. And as you become a man and you get a family, become a father, you become a husband, you put everything you learned in high school football together, and it makes you just a complete and better man and the character you get. So I want these kids to know that because you're not going on to college to play football and you're putting that helmet on tonight for the last time, it's okay. I mean, you committed yourself to a higher cause, something bigger than yourself, and your life will be much better for that. So I just wanted these kids to know that yeah, you might be putting on the helmet and shoulder pads tonight, and it's going to hurt, man. It's going to hurt when you leave that field tonight, but it's a good hurt, man, that you take with you forever. I mean, I went to lunch the other day with 7 of my friends from high school, and we had battles together. And we don't see each other in years, but we have that bond together. And I know I'm going on a tangent right now, but it's a fantastic thing. So I want these kids to know, these coaches to know, and these parents to know, if you don't go to the playoffs and tonight it ends for you, every second you've prepared and played has absolutely been worth it playing football.
I love what you said there, Joe. I want to echo it. And I would say it goes beyond football, really any sport. That's why we play sports, right? We get so caught up on shows like this, and this is, it's about how much money do you make, do you win championships, all that. That's all great too. But really the base of why you play sports and why it's important to have kids keep playing sports past the age of 12 or 13, even if you don't make the travel team or this or that, find a team to play on. Be a part of a group. There's so much value for the long term for being in a group like that. So, Joe, my hat's off. I salute you. You're right on.
Yeah, amen. I wrote this story. It's on my website at BigJoeOnTheGo.com, and I post it every year. And I've heard from so many coaches and players and parents that's like, I needed to hear this, needed to see this. And it's okay. I mean, if your season ends, it's okay. But, my goodness, you committed yourself, and you're a much better person for doing that.
So as we go into this Week 11, what are some games that have some playoff implications that you're paying attention to tonight?
Well, the biggest games that's happening at Wilson County, Mount Juliet and Green Hill. I mean, that's a huge rivalry, and a lot of sugarcoating going on. Like, hey, you do well, we do well. They don't like each other, and and they're not fans of each other at all. It's a healthy respect. They don't like each other. So that Mount Juliet Green Hill game at Green Hill tonight. Our Junie Riddle's going to be out there. There's going to be thousands at this game tonight. I mean, I know people will start tailgating at 3:00 this afternoon. Thousands of this game. That's a huge game that's going on. Also, you look over in Williamson County. You got Ravenwood Independent, Centennial, and Brentwood. They're all got one loss in the region, and you try to figure out who's going to win the region. It makes you go crazy. Although if Ravenwood wins, they get a home playoff game. If Centennial wins, they get a home playoff game. Ravenwood gets the region. It's crazy to think what goes on. But all these games, so Centennial, Brentwood, Ravenwood Independent is fantastic. And let's go a little bit further west, right? Our good friend Chris Hughes at Fairview, they take on Waverly tonight, which might be one of the biggest games in the state of Tennessee. We all know what Fairview, what Waverly went through last year. And it's a great program they got down there. And this tonight is for the Class 3A Region 6 Championship. They're expecting a huge crowd down there as well tonight. So all the Fairview Yellow Jacket fan base be traveling to Waverly. That's going to be a lot of fun. I know we got a lot of fans that listen to us in Waverly. So that's really good. All right, so back closer to home is an interesting story. All right, Laverne has only won 2 games this year, okay? And I tell people it's what you do in the region. If you lose every non-region game, that's okay. If you win your region games, that's okay. So they play McGavock tonight. McGavock's had a great year, but McGavock's only got 2 wins in the region. If Laverne beats my McGavock Raiders, they have 3 wins. They're going to the playoffs at 3-7. It's all about what you do within the. It's like we talk about the AFC South being awful. The Titans can go 6-11 and still win that division. It's not their fault that Jacksonville and Houston and Indy are awful. They're just in that division. So it's what you do within your division that happens. If McGavock wins, they get in. So that's a huge game as well. And then up in Portland, I know we got a lot of people listening in Portland. Henry County comes to town tonight. Portland can knock them off. It's a big game up there. Henry County's a great football team in 5A. I don't see that happening, but anything can happen on any Friday night. So a lot of big games around.
Joe, I got to tell you, I watched my son and I sat down at home. We didn't go to a game, and we were thinking we should have gone to one of these games. But we were flipping around to the different places you could watch. We had Max Hurst was calling the game on My TV 30. We had a couple teams had YouTube channels. We Derek, you'll laugh at this. I plugged my computer onto the TV so we could get it on the big screen with the HDMI cable.
Come on, Willie.
I don't have the high tech, Joe, but we got it on there. And one of the games we settled in on, it was just a great high school football game. NBA against Baylor. A lot of big names like Will Muschamp's son is the quarterback for Baylor. Man, he can sling it. There's some guys on my son's travel baseball team that were playing. One of them was Amari Jefferson, who is committed to baseball for Tennessee, but he's getting a lot of looks from other SEC teams as a wide receiver. He had a fantastic game. Of course, we've been talking about Marcel Reed. So it was a duel back and forth. Just a great high school football game. And so those are 2 teams that are, if you're looking for guys who are loaded and ready to go for the next level, that was just a classic.
I tell people, go if you don't have any dog in the hunt and you like college football, go see Marcel Reed at NBA. I mean, I don't think, and there's been a lot of great quarterbacks that have come through Nashville and through the years, but I'm not sure, Willie, I've seen a quarterback that talented in Nashville in a long time. And I know I'm probably leaving 1 or 2 people out, and I'm sorry about that. But just his command of the game of football is next level. And I hope he gets to Ole Miss and becomes a superstar, and they use him every way he can because he's doing things in high school that I've never seen before. Taking teams on 85-yard drives with a minute to go on the clock, getting down big time, rallying his team back, and not making mistakes and doing that. Lane Kiffin got an absolute gem in Marcel Reed. So you like college football, and you're an Ole Miss fan. I know Ole Miss played Vandy a few weeks ago, and somebody told me there were dozens and dozens of Ole Miss fans went to the game to see Marcel Reed at NBA. I forget who they're playing to go check him out. So that's a generational talent, man, that I haven't seen in a long time. So if you just like football and you're not a fan, you don't have really kind of a dog in the hunt anywhere, go see him. They got a home game tonight versus Knox Catholic. Go check him out because you will not be disappointed.
He took over the game in the fourth quarter and was close. And NBA's having a great season. Our man Chris Sanders, wide receivers coach for NBA.
Who do they have to get through? Is it going to be BA, essentially?
Well, Baylor's really good. Baylor was right in the game. They can hang with it. It was score for score. It was like one of those who's got the ball last. They had to get one more stop at the end. But so that's the thing that's compelling about that division is everybody's good, right, Joe? I mean, you can't. There's really no easy games. And when the playoffs start and you get down to the last 3 or 4 teams, there's every now and then there's a real dominant team, but most of the time, boy, 2 or 3 or 4 teams could possibly win it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You got NBA, you got Brentwood Academy, you got Innsworth could pop in there, and you got Baylor that plays that way. So it's like a lot of these regions. I don't recall, and I've covered high school football a long time. I don't recall going into the last week of the regular season with this many playoff implications and scenarios that are out there, which makes it a lot of fun for us tonight because we got so much to talk about and so much is happening. So it's going to be packed from 6 to midnight. One cool thing we got tonight, we're going to have Matthew Gillespie from the TSSAA come on at 6:15 because, they've got to put all this together once the games start ending and get the playoffs assigned. They got to do that tonight. So he's going to give us a little peek behind the curtain of everything that goes on because they, as well as us, get all these different situations that are happening just to show the work they do to get on there and put everything together. So, man, I'm so looking forward to it because this is it tonight. And then we start the playoffs next week, and then we're going to go all the way up to the semifinals. So this is really cool, and this is why we do the show. And, we've heard from so many people throughout our 10 weeks so far, coaches, writers, reporters, play-by-play announcers. It's been a lot of fun. And, Chase, I want to thank you and Dennis, the GM, for letting us do this because, as I say every week, a 6-hour dedicated high school football show in a major market like Nashville just doesn't happen. And we've been really happy with the people that have called in and the success, and we're looking forward to another great night tonight.
Well, you're welcome. And, I mean, look, you said if I let you do it, you give me my dog back. So where's my dog?
4 more weeks.
Joe,
4 more weeks.
Well, hope you're feeding him. Joe, great job as always, and we look forward to it tonight and appreciate it.
All right, boys. See you later on. Thank you.
Yep. Big Joe Dubin, the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy, 6 to midnight here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Big Joe Dubin and Elijah Campbell do a fantastic job with that. Coming up next, we will dive into the Predators. They're off the schneid. They got the win last night and look pretty good doing it as well. We'll discuss that coming up next. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
College football.
Touchdown, Georgia. Nice catch and move by Holden. Touchdown.
Lives here. Don't miss every exciting play each Saturday.
Into the end zone. Touchdown to the freshman, Dane Key.
It's all presented by Twin Peaks, your home of 20-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and by Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
In the home electronics business, longevity says it all. This week, Hi-Fi Buys turns 45, and we celebrate with a huge sales event. Some items are 45% off and more, like the incredible Sony B-Stock home cinema projectors. During this 45th anniversary sales event, get these amazing projectors for 45 to 70% off. All Sony B-Stock projectors come with full new factory warranties. But don't hesitate, these projector deals are limited to stock on hand, so when they're gone, they're gone. Select display and last year model TVs are below dealer cost, and most items are just above dealer cost. Many prices are so low we can't even advertise them. Hi-Fi Buys turns 45. Come see us. Retail store only. Hi-Fi Buys on Nolensville Road or HiFiBuysNashville.com.
Manufacturers that prohibit discounting excluded.
Open your ears and open your eyes. Hi-Fi Buys.
Nolensville Road, just north of the Nashville Zoo.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industries. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at harmanenergy.com.
312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. 312 Pizza Company only uses the best all-natural ingredients and makes everything in-house from scratch every single day. And trust me, you can taste the difference. They've got deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, their Italian beef. You'll taste the freshness. Stop in for a pint of local beer and a slice of pizza, or order online at 312pizzaco.com. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Middle Tennessee football is back in action at home on Saturday, November 12th. The Blue Raiders will take on Charlotte in our 40th annual Salute to Veterans and Armed Forces football game. Kickoff is set for 2:30 p.m. inside Floyd Stadium. Come early and join in on the festivities honoring our veterans. To purchase tickets or for more information, visit goblueraiders.com/tickets. Middle Tennessee, we are Blue Knighted.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines. Like cozy means super small. Great bones means money is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if the house needs a little TLC, you should probably pack your hazmat suit. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
Robbie Stanley.
They get a lead in that game and just totally close the door.
Joe Rexrode.
If he plays next year, it's disastrous.
Robbie and Rexrode. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app. This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
John, what'd you make of your group tonight, and I guess how good is that for the morale to snap that losing streak tonight?
Well, certainly good for the morale, but I thought we had some pretty good morale. To be honest, just as we were going through it, just trying to handle it the right way, and not getting too low and focusing on solutions and putting the work in when we had to put the work in. I think it's back-to-back games now where we played much more to the style of game that's going to give us the best chance to win. And just happy for the group. I mean, the guys, they handled the off days the right way, and then we came in and certainly prepared ourselves to play the way that we need to play and to be able to come out and get rewarded. And a lot of good things today. It's nice to see Juice back to be able to play at the level that he can play at. It's nice that the power play got off, got on the board. I thought our penalty kill came up with some key saves. And it was just nice in general. I think when you work the way that we worked, that you get rewarded. We talked a lot about getting more to the inside, getting to the net front. We got some goals in that area of the ice tonight. So, I think tonight was a good recipe, basically, to reinforce the things that we certainly need to do and what allows us to be a good team.
John Hines, after the win last night. Welcome back in, Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3. The Game. Chase McKay, Willy Donick, Derek Mason here with you. Predators win 6-2 over the St. Louis Blues. A much-needed win. I mean, I'm not going to say it was a must-win, but they needed it. They needed it bad. They needed it for their confidence. And they actually go down 1-0 early in the game. Thomas gets his first goal of the season for St. Louis, but then after that, it was pretty much all Predators as Jeannot would score. Shin would then give the Blues the lead back. Then they took over. McCarron with his first of the year. Sanford with just a great going around the back of the net wraparound goal, and they never looked back. Johansson gets his third of the year. Yossi with his first of the year. Mikhail Granlund on the empty netter. Just overall, I thought a really, really good performance by the Predators last night.
Willie, I did want to ask you a question because they made a line change up. They moved Granlund down and moved Forsberg up. Am I right?
Johansson.
Yeah, Johansson up.
And with Forsberg.
So it's Johansson, Forsberg, and Duchesne. And I said to you, man, they put that three powerhouse, that their hitters, all in on one line. It seemed to have worked yesterday, but you said toward the end of the game they sort of switched it back a little bit, or
they made some adjustments.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the interesting points. Chase, everything you said is right. I thought the Predators came out. We talked about it on the show yesterday about possibly being a little rusty in the first couple minutes, and that was absolutely the case. They took a couple minutes to get acclimated. They were turning the puck over. They were not in sync. and St. Louis scored on their first shot. Everybody was in the right place. It was just a good tip, and suddenly you're down 1-0. But as the first period went on, they really started to get their legs. And so we were really watching the lineup adjustments they made. The D pairs, which I thought, that I would be really surprised if they switched anything. I thought the 3 pairs all looked comfortable, not perfect. St. Louis is a really good team, but they defended pretty well. UC Saros looked more like UC Saros to me. He was making those key saves, so that was a really good sign. When things broke down, he made some key saves. They got a huge lift from the fourth line. Michael McCarron and Zach Sanford, that was probably the biggest part of the game. They're down 2-1. The fourth line makes 2 huge plays, and all of a sudden they're up 3-2, and they go from there. But let's get to your point, Derek. They move Ryan Johansson up with Matt Duchene and Philip Forsberg. I'm looking at Sportlogic, which is what what our broadcast uses. Expected goals for 95.7. Really, really good numbers there. They were pretty dominant, even when they weren't scoring. That's a good sign. But I think the thing, like you were saying, the changes. This is what happened in the third period. Cody Glass had been moved up on the second line to center Mikhail Granlund and Nino Niederreiter. When they got the lead, he elevated Cole Smith. He started skipping Cody Glass. He moved Mikhail Granlund back to center and was spotting guys. Robbie Stanley was asking John Hines after the game about it, and John Hines said, I wanted to reward guys who were having an exceptional game. So that tells me that long-term, they're still looking at what is the right formula for the top 6? What's the right formula? How do we best roll out there? And I think it's still a work in progress. I think they really like Cody Glass's progress, but is he a top 6 guy every night? I think that's something to watch for on Saturday. Do they come back with that lineup, or do they have a different second line?
I think they're still tweaking. I mean, I kind of feel like that's what.
And John Hines basically said that after the game. They're still looking at some things, but it's a start, right?
How long did you say Glass? What was Glass? Because I felt like I hardly saw him in the third period.
Well, in the third period, he took one shift early, and then he didn't play again until after they had the game well in hand. I mean, they just sort of skipped him in the rotation. They started using different guys. But it was effective, right? The third period, they won going in. They finally got the power play goal that they needed.
Hit 11-19 of ice time.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is not really the minutes you would expect from a second-line center. So they skipped him. He didn't get the regular ice time, especially in the third period. But the power play gets a key goal. That's their first real significant power play goal of the year. It put the game away. We talked about the games where they couldn't hold a lead in the third. Mm-hmm. What can put a game away? A timely power play goal. They've had opportunities in all of the games leading up to it, hadn't been able to score. So that's a good sign. And isn't it weird that it was a shot that missed the net badly, banks off the backboard, and then deflects off the goalie in a big pileup, and it goes in? So it was it was an ugly goal, but it counts, right?
Sure.
And maybe that will get some momentum going. So this is a start. So let's see if they can build off of this. A lot of good things. It's by no means perfect, but they beat a really good team that is going to be a good benchmark all year long. How do you compare with a good team like the St. Louis Blues?
Well, and look, they're going to need it Saturday. I mean, look, it's been a few years since Peter was here, but still, I think those matter. Those matchups against them. So I just keep this momentum going.
But what does that say? What does that say about Cody Glass now that he's a second line guy, but he doesn't get second line minutes?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and I think they're still evaluating what's best for Cody Glass and his development. I think long term, the best thing for the whole franchise would be for Cody Glass to jump up and grab that spot in the second line and say, I am your second line center. I'm the guy. He's young. He's not going to be expensive for a while. That would solve a lot of problems if guys like him, Tomasino, Tolvanen, progress. Tolvanen was a healthy scratch last night. He had a great start to the season. His first couple games were great. And then all of a sudden, he takes a step back. The consistency's still not there. It's not that they haven't tried it. right? They put him out there in the second line. But he didn't play well, and now he's going to have to work his way back in the lineup. So these are young guys. There's a kind of an ebb and flow. John Hines has got to win tonight, but he's also got to look at the long term. You know, you got your hockey ops people that are trying to look long term and saying, man, these young guys, wouldn't it be great if they can jump up and take these roles? But sometimes they're not quite ready. So I'm really curious if they come back with Glass on the second line tomorrow night, because they certainly didn't end the game that way. Glass's numbers didn't look bad to me.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't bad. I didn't think he played poorly.
Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3, The Game coming up next. We'll talk a little sports betting and much more with our buddy Alan Bell from CBS Sportsline. We'll do that next, but first, Willy has a word on Lee Company.
Lee Company. They'll be sponsoring our coverage. Max Hurst will take the mic tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Lee Company, the official title sponsor of our Predators pregame show. They're also a big sponsor all around Smashville. Lee Company has got what you need in terms of your base of your home. You know, your home maintenance plan. That is really what they specialize in. They've got an array of talents. The home maintenance plan is what we center in on in our house because we get the annual calls. Look, I'm not Mr. Fix-It, but they keep me on top. They keep our family on top of our heating unit, our cooling unit, our plumbing system, our electrical system. Get the annual checkups on those 4 things, and they make sure everything's running properly, and they make recommendations if they see something that needs some maintenance. And we get discounts on those because we're part of their home maintenance plan. So you pay that small monthly fee, and you come out ahead on it. 615-567-1000 or LeeCompany.com. Ask about the home maintenance plan and how you can be a part of it. Lee Company, proud sponsor, Nashville Predators.
You watch the game.
Tannehill, he can run, and he does. Touchdown.
We talk the game.
I think this is Vrabel giving Tannehill more authority over the team.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity line of credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity credit line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have. Credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Signs First, Nashville's foremost destination for event signage and physical media. Located just minutes from Broadway, our team of design, production, and installation professionals can help you create an unforgettable event. Stand out. Be different. Go to sfnash.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required. Refund available for 60 days after purchase.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. You'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Results are guaranteed or your money back. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Robbie and Rex Road, Chase, Willy, and D-Mase.
Stoney and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushes.
Awesome Game 7. Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Now let's see if we can bring them to life, all right?
Bringing you entertainment and informative sports talk during your workday.
Smart, funny, classy, and I like him a lot.
This is Chase, Willy, and D-Mase with Chase McCabe, Willy Donick.
Mason, touchdown, Tennessee.
And former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
This is a new level of geek you got going on here.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We're streaming on the Game Nashville app. Chase McCabe, Willy Donick, Derek Mason with you. We say hello to our buddy Alan Bell, CBS Sportsline. Talk a little football, sports betting with him. Alan, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, my man. You doing okay?
Oh, it's been good. It's been good. You know, last weekend was really, really good from a betting standpoint. Because I thought college football, it was such a great board. The NFL was okay. This week is not so much for college football, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. It's funny. I was just talking with Chip Patterson, the guy I work with over at CBS Sports, and, dude, he said the exact same thing that you just did. You know, he was talking about how Week 9, you know, this week in college football, it's a little bit of a trap week, and to be careful because there's a lot of big spreads in games that, you know, are normally big rivalry games. So, yeah, I feel you, man. There's some traps out there for sure.
Well, let's start with one of those big spreads in a rivalry game that's taking place in East Tennessee. Tennessee, the third-ranked team in the country, laying 12 points at home against Kentucky. Kentucky at 5-2. Now, they had a couple of mix-ups or hiccups, I should say, but I still think that's a pretty good football team. It's a lot of points, but I am kind of leaning laying the 12 because I just think Tennessee's offense is that good.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. Now, first off, 12's a weird number, right? But, you know, anything under 13, I would say lean Tennessee because I agree with you. You're looking at the fastest team in the SEC in Tennessee against the slowest scoring team in the SEC in Kentucky. Now, I'm not saying that as a negative. I'm with you. I love Mark Stoops. I think everything that he's done at Kentucky has been fantastic. And they've dealt with some injuries for sure, not only, you know, for Will Levis, but at the offensive line position as well. So, yeah, like the problem is that if Tennessee does what Tennessee does and scores often, like I just don't see a way that Kentucky can keep up because kind of the same thing with Florida, Georgia, which I'm sure we'll talk about. You know, Kentucky running the football is actually going to hurt them later in the game, and it'll help Tennessee. So I would say take Tennessee with the points. I think your best bet is probably Tennessee first quarter, you know, around 3.5. Tennessee's outscored opponents 96-24 in the first quarter of games this season.
There's a couple of other games that intrigue me. Notre Dame getting 2.5 on the road at Syracuse. Syracuse had that tough one against Clemson, which, I mean, look, they were right there. They covered. Yeah. Thought they could win outright. What do you think about that one?
Man, you know what? Look, I'm going to say this. I'm rolling with Syracuse. Like, I thought that last week, even though they lost the game, like, Syracuse proved more to me last week than any other games they had this season, and they've had a terrific season. Like, this is a for-real football team. Like, they can play. They're tough, and they're not afraid to fight, right? And, look, Notre Dame is not who Notre Dame usually is. Yeah, I'll roll Syracuse. Like, I'll take them. If you're giving it to me under 3, yeah, man, I'll take Syracuse on that.
Yeah, I like that one too. There's one tonight that East Carolina has been kind of intriguing this year. You know, last week they were 5.5, 5-point dogs. I think what it was. They won outright. They're getting 3.5 tonight on the road in Provo at BYU. Now that's a tough place to play, but I don't think this is the same BYU that we've seen in the past. So what do you think about that one?
Yeah, dude, like, you know what? Like, I think this could be, like, the most difficult line to play all weekend in a game that, like, nobody's really, paying attention to, all things considered. But you're right, dude. Like, Provo, anytime you're going, west, especially Mountain West, like, those areas do get very, very difficult. But you're right, man. Like, BYU's not the same team that we're used to. It used to be physical, run the football, just pound you, beat you up, play good defense, right? Which is, I mean, just tough to deal with whoever you're playing, wherever you're playing. But I don't think they're the same. In East Carolina, man, like they just keep going and keep going. I'm with you. Give me. I know it's kind of wild taking the points like on the road, but I'll roll with ECU. I'll take them this year.
My man. And then one more on my end for college, and then I'll let Derek go with the pros. But Cincinnati, and I've seen this at 2, I've seen it at 1.5, getting points. The 20th ranked team only lost one game on the road at UCF. I know UCF is 5-2, but I also don't think this is the same UCF we've seen in years past. So what do you think about that one at 2:30 tomorrow?
Dude, I don't think this is the same UCF team week to week.
No.
Like, you just don't know what you're going to get with them, right? And the hard part is that when UCF is on and Malzahn has it going, like, they could put 55 on you quickly, right? But when they're off, buddy, it is bad, really, really bad. So, yeah, like this one's tough. I don't have a great feel either way, but if I were forced to play it one way or the other, give me Cincinnati. Like, they're proven. They're more consistent. I can trust what I see. If I lose the bet, I lose the bet, but I'll roll with a team that is consistent week in and week out because you just can't trust UCF.
Now, the game I'm looking at in the NFL, the Patriots and the Jets. The Jets have been on a roll. Their defense is playing well. The Patriots have been struggling, but yet and still the Patriots are favored to win this by 2.5.
Man, right? Like, okay, so they're going to start Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
All right, like, and you know better than anybody, right? Like, man, like I feel like Mac Jones is going to come in ready to go. We'll see how that goes. The Jets, obviously, like you said, have been on their game, but losing Breece Hall, obviously that hurts. They make the trade, for Robinson for the running back from Jacksonville. But, how much is he really going to factor into this one here? Man, like this one's tough. I'll take the Patriots under 3, but, oh, man, it's just brutal. But I'll say this. Belichick can have his way with Zach Wilson, and if that thing could go south quickly, yeah, like they can pounce. I'll take New England here. I don't feel great about it, but I'll take New England here.
We're talking about Alan Bell, CBS Sports Line. Another one, the Giants have to be the worst 6-1 team in the National Football League. They go up against Seattle, and I know it's out in Seattle, and that's a hard place to play. But they're a 3-point dog. A team that's 6-1 going against a team that's 4-3, and this Giants team with Saquon Barkley has been tremendous this season. But yet, and still, they find themselves more times than not as an underdog. Yeah,
man. I'll tell you this. This is how you play it. I played this last week with the Giants too. The New York Giants play the exact same game every week, every single week. Right? Like they'll start a little bit slow, and they scored a little bit against Jacksonville last week in the first half. But I'll fade them in the first half. And I'll take him in the second half. Now, with Seattle, like, we got to give Pete Carroll some credit out there. Like, everybody dogged him and made fun of him, when they traded Russell Wilson. They're like, dude, you got Geno Smith. Like, what are you going to do? And he has been, Geno's done his thing. And the Seahawks have done their thing. And Kenneth Walker running the football, he is an absolute stud. Give me Seattle in this one because I think Kenneth Walker and I think Geno Smith, like, if you're getting them at home, yeah, man, like, that's a long trip. And Seattle, like, they don't beat themselves. Like, that's the big thing. They don't beat themselves. So I'll take the Seahawks on that.
Go green, go white.
Yes, sir.
Alan Bell is with us. So, Alan, one thing that Mike Vrabel jumped out to say to everybody on Wednesday was how well the Texans have played in the first 3 quarters. He said that they've outscored people by 20 overall during the season in quarters 1 through 3. That doesn't help you necessarily win football games. But from a gambling angle, I heard you talk about first quarter, first half. Have you noticed that trend?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the Texans and the Jaguars pretty much play the exact same style, and here's why they're dangerous because they're not. They all understand what time it is. They're not playing to win. To win a Super Bowl. And I'm not saying that as a negative. What I'm saying is this: is that the coaching style kind of. You watch that Florida Tennessee game, and you saw Florida just going for it on 4th down. Right? Like playing nothing to lose. That's how they play. That's how Jacksonville plays, and it's tough to deal with because if you get 4th and 2, it's tough to stop those, man. So that's why. Now, they don't have the roster. They don't have the team. That's why, they kind of, fall apart in the 4th quarter, say they were Jacksonville, because you just don't have the horses yet. But Davis Mills is a good quarterback, man. Like, Houston could do some things. I'll say this. I like Tennessee in this game. I think Tennessee handles their business in this game. But that being said, I think when the Jaguars and the Titans play, I think the Jaguars could give the Titans some serious fits just because it's such an unconventional style, and Doug Peterson legitimately will go. If it's less than 4th and 7, he's going, right? And dealing with that over and over and over becomes an issue. So I think Tennessee handles their business against Houston, but Jacksonville, like, Tennessee's a better team. It's just weird matchups. But yeah, like, long story short, 100%, man. They're tough to do in the first 3 quarters because they just do unconventional things.
You see so many bizarre things every Sunday. Carolina just blowing out the Buccaneers with the third-string quarterback. There's always a couple of those. So what are your rules of thumb from a gambling standpoint to avoid the minefield that we get every Sunday?
Yeah, like, I'll tell you this, man, and especially, like, pretty much after, like, kind of like the COVID period, just using that, as, like, the time frame, like, both college and the NFL, it's legitimately week to week. Now, the NFL's always been that way, right? It's all about matchups, coaching styles, et cetera. But, like, seriously, it is a week-to-week game. So what you saw last week, take some of that into effect, but the way that the styles of, offenses versus defenses, offensive lines versus defensive lines, et cetera, like, it could be a completely different league. And you look at it, you're like, what am I watching? Like, this doesn't make sense because there's parity in the NFL. Like, there's like maybe 2 teams that are truly great, and then everybody else is not that much different from the others, right? So, yeah, like, that's my biggest thing is don't go off to, like, kind of the notions and preconceptions that you have in your head. Like, take a look at the numbers because you'll see some things that'll pop out and you're like, well, this doesn't make sense in my head, but this could happen, and generally it usually does.
He is Alan Bell from CBS Sportsline. Rick wanted me to tell you he's fading you on Syracuse. So
Big Rick.
I love it. He's Notre Dame is undefeated as an underdog, so that's where he's going.
There you go on that. Like that. I mean, that was tough too. Like how long we got to ride Syracuse, right? Like, they continue to do this. That's as much I can.
Well, appreciate the time as always, Alan. We'll do it again soon.
Man, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Alan Bell, CBS Sportsline, talking a little sports betting for the weekend with him. Always enjoy his insight on that as he does a great job. We'll get into the Titans, and, we talked about this some yesterday, but what is the bigger worry right now for the Two-Tone Blue? Not having Jeffrey Simmons or not having Ryan Tannehill this weekend against Houston? We'll discuss that coming up next. Catch the Eddie George Show featuring Jonathan Hutton on 102.5, 106.3 The Game on Monday at 6, live at 6 in Peabody. The Eddie George Show is brought to you by Low T Centers and Xander Insurance. Xander gives you more options. More options means more savings for you. Free quote at xanderinsurance.com.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Free ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5. Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here. Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you got to do is sign up with promo code ROB. Lots of things we're learning in the NFL. One of those things is I'm starting to lean taking the under on the Packers games and taking the under on the Titans games as well. But you can take it any way you want to take it. Just make sure you do it on FanDuel. They've got great live betting options, updated odds for every game, and you get your winnings paid quickly as well. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with promo code ROB for your no-sweat first bet. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, football fans. Dak Prescott here. And I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra. Results vary.
Nashville. It's the 38th running of the All-American 400 at the legendary Fairgrounds Speedway. Don't miss this final huge racing event of the season, featuring the All-American 400 Super Late Model Race tri-sanctioned by the ARCA, the CRA Super Series, the Southern Super Series, and ARCA Midwest Tour, plus the Pro Late Models 100 Championship Race. Get your tickets today at NashvilleFairgroundsSpeedway.racing and experience short track racing's best. The Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.racing for tickets.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. I'm ready to step this up a notch. You're listening to Chase, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and on the Game Nashville app.
Still several days from Sunday. How do you approach maybe Ryan through a week when maybe he's going to be limited in some practices and trying to get him ready for Sunday?
Yeah, he's a pro, so it's not as much about physically him, having to go through those things. He's mentally prepared. He always is, and he knows how to get himself ready to go from that standpoint. So we'll see how he progresses, and I'm sure they'll let me know before we kick off.
Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. That's Mike Vrabel talking about Ryan Tannehill and where he could be, where he's at. He was officially listed as limited yesterday. We did see videos of him. Jill Jelnick tweeted this out from Fox 17 that he was working with Malik Willis, talking with him. He did have the red jersey on, but I don't know how much he really did. He didn't do anything.
Well, when the media was out there, he did nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. He was just working with. Now, I made the joke because she had the video of him, and he's like, his hands are going this way. Now, you go out of the parking lot, you take a right, go down to the stop sign, take a left. When you get to the McDonald's, take another left. That's kind of what.
But Vrabel didn't seem optimistic that he would play.
No.
And I mean, Vrabel doesn't seem optimistic too many times about anything. It's just flatline with him. He just tell it how he sees it. So that's why, when I finally saw the interaction between he and Ben Jones in the tunnel, that was heartfelt. It did touch me somewhat because I know it took a lot for that to come out, and it was displayed in a beautiful way, to me at least. But yeah, Vrabel, he didn't seem too optimistic. Again, I'm not optimistic about Ryan Tannehill playing. I listened to the afternoon show yesterday, and the things that they were saying, Jared and Caroline. I'm not going to force Ryan Tannehill. If I'm the head coach, I'm not going to force a situation, regardless of who I'm playing. It could be the Houston Texans, who are dismal, or it could be the Buffalo Bills, who's the best team in the National Football League. We are, 6 games into the season. My quarterback has a ankle injury. Let's just put it at that. He hasn't practiced all week up until this point. Today's Friday. I doubt if he practices today. Why in the hell am I going to then put him out on the field if he's not close to a 100%? I'm just not going to chance it. I don't care. This is about the long term. It's not about the short term, getting him in the game and proving his toughness and all that crap. No, it's about being smart. if you're limited as a quarterback and I put you out there, that means I don't care about you. I don't, because if you can't move around, I'm not worried about last game. The way that sports work, people, is this. And Willie, you know. Chase, you know, too. I mean, you've seen it enough and, you know, you've been around it enough. If a guy gets injured during the game, say he twists his ankle, sprains his ankle, or high ankle sprain, a lot of times he can go to the sideline. They're not going to shoot you up. They're just not. They're not going to give you any medicine for that. Because by the time they give it to you and it kicks in, the game's over with. So giving you medicine makes no sense. Typically, that's done, you know, 30 minutes before a game, somewhere around there. So it gets in your system. Then it takes the pain away. They're not going to give it to you, you know, in a fourth quarter with 5 minutes left and think it's going to work. It's not going to work. You may not. It'll work 2 hours later. But the game's over with. But as you both know, when that adrenaline is pumping, it's going. You twist an ankle, or hell, I broke a scapula in a game. At halftime, I went in the locker room, came back out and played. Why? Because my adrenaline was still going. I was still in the phase of the game. It wasn't until the game was over with, I got on the plane, got home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't move my shoulder. And I guarantee you that's how Ryan Tannehill felt. Oh my gosh, I can't put any weight on his foot. It's not the day of the day it happens. It's subsequently the days after that. And if he hasn't practiced up until now, again, this is not a rib injury, or this is not some little, you know, toe injury. Oh, I scraped my toe, or I may have, you know, tweaked my knee just a tad bit, but I could still move. This is an ankle. With an offensive line that's not good already, why would you subject your quarterback who isn't as mobile right now, why would you subject him to getting hurt even worse than what he is? I don't understand that point.
Well, my observation is I see the gamesmanship by Mike Vrabel.
And I understand that,
He's
yes.
trying to protect everything that's going on. For example, the first day, on Wednesday, Mike Vrabel says he'll probably be limited.
Sure.
Ryan Tannehill says it's a walkthrough today. And then he's listed as did not practice. Yesterday, during the time with the media, he doesn't do anything. But he's listed as limited. So it's kind of like they're trying to make you guess. And that's what we're doing. This has become part of what we've done all week, is just guess. None of us really know what he can do and what he can't do unless somebody gets an inside source and breaks a story, which, you know, would uncover probably some things. There's probably some things people know, but they are keeping it close to the vest. What does that do? It puts doubt. It forces the Texans to prepare for both quarterbacks. It probably helps Malik Willis in that, you know, they can behind the scenes do some things where there maybe is a little bit of element of surprise if he does have to play. But anybody who's sitting there saying, I know he's playing or I know he's not playing, is just guessing. They're just guessing. Now, I'm still very skeptical. I'm more in your corner, Derek. I'm just really concerned that, you know, he's just not going to be able to move well enough to be effective if it's the type of injury that it looked like to me. But nobody really knows. And I would expect them to just use that to their advantage and make him a game-time decision, right? The first clue will be Saturday if they elevate Logan Woodside. That'll be the first indicator. Because before that, I don't think they're going to come to the microphone today and rule him out. I'd be surprised.
No,
right?
I don't think so. But you
could rule him out Sunday morning if you want.
Do you buy into something that Jared and Caroline were talking about yesterday, that if you're Tannehill, you don't want Malik Willis to play?
No,
because I don't. I don't buy into
that. Is 0%. Absolutely nothing to do with it.
Again, it's even if Malik Willis goes out there and have a, you know, who was the quarterback? Flynn for Green Bay when he threw for 4 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, somewhere around there. Even if Malik Willis goes out there and do that, he's still not the starting quarterback. If Ryan Tannehill is healthy, 100% ready to go the next following week, you know who will be underneath center? Ryan Tannehill.
Here's something else you said, Derek, that I think I agree with. As a competitor, it's got nothing to do with the backup. the hardest thing is to tell your coach or your teammates, I can't go. You know, it just burns you. You don't want to do that. That's what drives guys to play hurt, right? They want to be there for their teammates. It's not like, oh my gosh, if I don't play, I'm going to lose my job. That's not how it works. It's I got to be there for my teammates. If I can play, I want to be in there. That's what drives a guy to play hurt. But there comes a point where somebody's got to say, Ryan, you can't do the things you can do normally. We're better off with the other guy. So that's where you got to be a good teammate, and just if that's the decision that's made.
Anybody that's a starter or anybody that's a backup, you want to be out there as much as you possibly can, and you will suffer through whatever injury that you have. Like for me, had a broken scapula. I didn't continue to play because I was scared of the guy behind me.
Right.
That had nothing to do with me. I didn't care. I didn't even think about the guy behind me. I wanted to play because I wanted to be out there with the guy.
Yes.
I wanted to help win in any way I could. That's why I went. It had nothing to do with me being scared. Oh, somebody's going to take my position. Or if he has a good game, then everybody's going to be screaming on the sideline, why isn't this guy playing? And then the news people are going to say something. Then the head coach is going to get pressure. Then he's going to put the guy in. Hell no. I just wanted to be out there with the guys. I'm not saying Ryan wants to be out there with the guys, but it has nothing to do with, Malik might take my job. It's just he wants to be out there. But it comes a point in time, like you said, Willie, and I think Vrabel is this type of coach. Hey, Ryan. Hey, bud, I know you want to be out there. We want you out there. But it would be better if Malik's out there this week. And Ryan would probably I get you, coach. Whatever it takes for the team to win. That's what Ryan remarks would be. His response would be, whatever it takes for the team to win, I'm good with it. All right, then. Let's go.
Let's do it. 615-737-1025. We'll get your calls, get your texts on this coming up next. But how could Todd Downing scheme for Tannehill knowing that he's limited? We'll continue that discussion coming up next here on Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Saturday night.
He scored! Philip Forsberg! What a rocket!
Peter Laviolette and the Washington Capitals take on Philip Forsberg and the Nashville Predators. Pre-game at 6. Face-off at 7 on your home for Nashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and The Game Nashville app.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best Award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
How can a half-carat diamond magically grow into a 2-carat diamond? With Genesis Diamond's 110% diamond upgrade guarantee.
Our trade-up policy is the best in the United States.
That's Stasia at Genesis, explaining how if you buy a diamond today and want to trade it in for a bigger one next year, Genesis always gives you back your original purchase price plus an extra 10%.
We will gladly give you every single penny you paid for the diamond plus an extra 10%, which is amazing. No one does that.
As a real-life example, take Stasia's customer Paul.
When he first started, he got a half-carat, and then as he became more successful, we rewarded him. He came in and he got a 3/4 carat, and then he's traded for a carat. I'm sure I'll see him this year for a carat and a half. As they grow and change and become more successful, their engagement ring can grow with them also.
And there's no catch, no minimum trade-up requirement, and it works on diamond studs and diamond pendants as well.
You get every single investment dollar you put into the diamond, you will get an extra 10% towards the new diamond.
Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes.
You can trade as many times as you wish.
Continuously voted best jewelry store and best place to buy an engagement ring. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Craneworks offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rentalworks is a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Craneworks. Visit craneworks.com.
Preds fans, Superbook wants to send one lucky fan a pair of tickets on the ice. Text the keyword Superbook, all one word, to 615-737-1025 for entry to win.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
312 Pizza Company is the official sponsor and location of Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Ryan Johansson. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Shane, what's been the key to maybe the defensive improvement since the over the last 4 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think last week we finally got the X-play burden off our back a little bit. I think they had one play for 20 yards, and that was really it. And I think our guys just have continued to fight. Like, it hasn't been perfect by any means. But ultimately, I think early on, the X-plays overshadowed a lot of the good stuff we were doing. So, I mean, I think when you eliminate those, you got a chance to be really good. And hopefully that trend continues for us.
Shane Bowen talking about the defense and keys to improvement that they've had over the last few weeks. Welcome back in, Chase, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Willy Donick, Derek Mason with you. And look, the defense is going to play a huge factor, even more so maybe than they have the last few weeks, because whether it's Ryan Tannehill or it's Malik Willis, they're going to have to make plays against a team that really hasn't been able to get it going offensively in the Houston Texans. But I'll ask you guys this. Let's say that they decide Saturday or Sunday morning that Tannehill's not 100%, but he's going to go. They're going to, for the good of the team, whatever, he's going to play. If you're Todd Downing, how do you change your scheme to work with Ryan Tannehill that won't have his full mobility?
You have to lean more on Derrick Henry, more than you have thus far. And they could go out and say, listen, Ryan Tannehill at 75%, it would be better for us moving forward. We just, hope and pray that he doesn't, no one falls on his ankle or he doesn't, make it worse than what it is. But you have to, whatever you do, if his mobility is restricted, it has to be within the guard box. You can't do anything, stretch plays where he has to run and stretch and give it to Derrick Henry close to the tackle box or a little bit outside the tackle box. Everything has to be downhill, giving the ball to Derrick Henry. You can't put him, if you want to throw the football, it has to be done out of shotgun. It can't be done out of underneath the center and him, doing 3, 5, 7-step drops if he's not, close to 100%, because he showed that he barely could do it toward the end of the game last week. This week, you figure, they're going to have that thing taped up even stronger, and it's going to be like a cast. What makes you think he's going to be able to do it this week? So everything that you do,
and he's not a pocket QB.
Everything you do has to be from the guard to the guard box. Giving the ball to Derrick Henry. That's why I said Derrick Henry and Dontrell Hilliard are need to be featured heavily this game because Ryan, judging from the last game, he just doesn't have the mobility to do some of the things that he would otherwise do if he wasn't injured.
And really, it sounds drastic, but in reality, they've already been kind of limited to start with because they they can't protect any quarterback long enough to really run a lot of slow developing plays. They have to do a lot of max protect. They have to do a lot of pass plays that not a lot of guys are in the pattern. They're going to run it a lot anyway. So I just think you take that extra step, you're going to be limited even more if he can't slide up and down in the pocket, if he can't escape like he normally does. That just takes a dimension away. And so I think you have to call the plays accordingly. It's just going to restrict. I think it's going to be a very conservative game plan, a lot of heavy run, and that will be the case regardless of who's playing quarterback. I think the mentality is going to be, I want my offense to run the ball against a team that doesn't defend the run very well. No turnovers. If we've got a punt, we've got a punter who's got a great leg. Let's rely on special teams. And we believe that it's more likely than not the Texans will crack. We know how to win. Texans don't know how to win. And we'll find a way with a restricted offense.
Or
no turnovers.
Or they can do this. They can take a page out of Indy's playbook from not last week, but the week before. If you got a quarterback that isn't as mobile, and in Ryan's Tannehill case, because of the injury, he may be restricted. Well, if that is indeed the case, and you don't want to just be heavy run, you don't want to be that predictable. Well, everything has to be quick game. Everything has to be, you gotta get those guys out, 5 receivers, 3 or 4 receivers, get them outside, and everything has to be quick. He must get the ball out of his hands in like 2 seconds. And if it's not out, you got to find an outlet quickly.
Yeah, or throw it away.
Exactly. If you don't want to make it so predictable that you're running the ball consistently, if you want to have some type of balance, it has to be the quick game. It has to, and you got to spread them out. You have to. It may be. It's almost like it's almost like this double-edged sword, because if you spread them out, now you leave your offensive linemen one-on-one with blockers.
Right, which they're not great at.
But Houston, at least to my knowledge, I don't think they have any, pass rushers that are A1 guys. You feel that, okay, you can hold up for
it's not
2
Washington's
seconds.
Front.
Exactly. It's not Washington's front.
Like Washington can get after the passer. They've got some guys who can come at you. The Colts do too. So this is not as ferocious a front, so maybe you can protect a little bit better. But I think this is a defense, field position. If you got to win 19-13, that's totally fine. So
6-3?
6-3, that'll work. Winning ugly is part of what the Titans do. Let's get number 22 going. Let's do everything we can. Everybody knows we're going to run it. Houston knows we're going to run it. I'm curious to see how much Lovie Smith and that defense cheats to try to stop Henry. Or do they just say, look, he's going to run on us. Let's make sure that he doesn't go wild on it, and let's stop him in the red zone. I don't know. My guess is they're going to dare the Titans to have to throw to win, which is why it's so important not to fall behind, not to have that bad mistake that allows the Texans to get ahead. Here's the other part of the question. Chase, you heard Shane Bowen talking about the defense. Mm-hmm. They've done a very good job of limiting explosive plays. That's what they want to do. He emphasizes that every time he goes to the podium. But can you have the dominating game on defense if Jeffrey Simmons isn't 100%? He still hasn't practiced. I'm curious what his status is today.
Yeah, that
2 straight days not practicing.
I think it's crazy. I think Jeffrey Simmons being out is a bigger deal than Ryan Tannehill. I mean, as crazy as that may sound, against Houston, just because I think there's going to be such an emphasis on the defense that you really need Jeffrey Simmons in there. I think you can live with Malik Willis because you have Derrick Henry, and you're just adding more to the run game with Malik Willis. You scheme it that way, but you don't have Jeffrey Simmons. That's tough.
Yeah, because you have no one you can lean on defense, because Bud Dupree still, he's not 100%. He's dealing with a hamstring, and we all know how hamstrings are. You can start the game, you can play a quarter, but then after that, you may be gone for the rest of the game. So now, not only are you down Jeffrey Simmons potentially, but you're down Bud Dupree as well. So having Jeffrey Simmons, to me, like you, Chase, is probably the bigger issue, because of what he does for that defense, because of Bud Dupree being injured, because you don't have Harold Landry on that front line.
Exactly. So we'll see what they end up coming up with. And, like you said, we may get a clue tomorrow if they end up calling up Logan Woodside from the practice squad, but I still don't think that'll tell us the whole story of whether Tannehill is going to be a go or not. Vrabel is going to address the media sometime in the 12 o'clock hour, so we'll see what he is able to offer from that standpoint. 615-737-1025. Chase, Willy, and D-Mase, 1025-1063 The Game. First, Willy, tell us about QC Kinetics.
All right, people here in our listening area are getting relief from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics helps people with joint pain, chronic arthritis, things like that. QC Kinetics really has a formula that's been working for people. They're the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, and they now have 3 clinics in our listening area, Nashville, Clarksville, and Murfreesboro. So if you are active and you've got an injury right now, your shoulders, your back, your hips, maybe it's arthritis, maybe you've had surgery, maybe you haven't, but maybe the regular treatments you've been going through have not been effective for you. Try the regenerative medicine. The tissue in your joint can be repaired and restored through QC Kinetics. They give you pain-free movement. No drugs, no steroids, no downtime, no surgery. So this